Welcome to Big Blend Radio's Eat, Drink, and Be Merry show, where we love to talk about food, drink, recipes, and techniques, and where to shop, taste, and play. Let's go. Hey everyone, you know that November is that big month of Thanksgiving, how we start planning for it all month long for one day of feasting that goes beyond the day because then we have leftovers and that can continue on. And Thanksgiving, the actual Thanksgiving weekend is right before December. So it's so interesting to see how Black Friday, I think it all starts going into like December this year, which is interesting. Small Business Saturday, Cyber Monday, Giving Tuesday. So it's a really interesting month. So we're going to give you all the tips you need today with Chef Ivan Flowers. He's a 5-star chef, also a culinary instructor, teaching high school students out in Temecula in Southern California. He's going to give you the tips on getting the right turkey, how to prepare it. And he said, we must air this today. So we're going to do it. Right? We're recording on a Sunday. We're going to get it out tomorrow so that you have time to go purchase your turkey and do it right, because nobody wants the wrong turkey. Though there's a lot.
No.
Are we actually going to do this? We're going to air this before Election Day. Oopsie, I should not go there. But how are you, Ivan?
I'm good, Lisa. I'm good.
I know, because if we did this, I'm doing good. But if we aired this after Election Day, we may have to talk about some other kind of turkeys. We don't know.
Yes.
So this is good.
Know.
We're safe. We're safe doing it now.
Yeah.
But you know what? I love turkeys. So, I think turkeys are cool. I do want to start with the world of turkey, like purchasing a turkey. Nancy and I, many years ago when we started our Love Your Parks tour, I think it was back in 2012 or 2013, we went up to Tuolumne County, which is home to Yosemite National Park and places like Sonora, California, Gold Rush towns. And while we were up there, we had the good fortune to visit with Diesel Farms Turkey, and they do heritage turkeys. Because from what I started to understand from them is that we've got to a point where one turkey fits all in this country, and we've actually lost some of our turkey breeds over the years and through mass production of turkey. Nowadays we just go to the grocery store, open the freezer, put a turkey in the cart, and off we go. But as a chef, have you heard anything about that in regards to turkeys? Are we just like one turkey fits all now, or we should support maybe those places like Diesel Farms?
I think supporting those places are important. They're raising, are they selling? Yeah, but they're probably very minimally processed. I guess, are they selling them fresh?
Yes,
versus frozen?
Fresh and frozen, and then
they're probably free range, and that affects not only it affects the taste, it affects the happiness of the turkey. The whole thing. So I'm a big supporter for that versus the big corporations pumping them out and processing them with injecting them with a lot of salt and a lot of fat for extra tenderness, but you're getting a lot of sodium. You have to be careful.
And well, I know we interviewed them years ago, and I don't want to say expensive like it's going to break the bank, but if you're on a budget and have a large family that you're feeding, you may not be able to do it. Everyone's in a different boat, right? So I don't want to, say that about the expense part with them but it is going to be a little bit more. It always is. If you want organic grass-fed beef, you're going to pay a little bit more. That's my point on it. But I think, there are farms like this across the country. And if you can have that opportunity to do something locally, I don't know if you've got turkeys in your backyard in Southern California, but I bet you do. Temecula has some amazing farms. At least try to do local first, right? Before your big box store grocery shelf, maybe if you can. You might find something. Yeah. Now, there's the whole turkey, right? And then you go in and you just mentioned the solution and everything. So how do we buy a turkey for Thanksgiving? If we're looking at a family, like, 6 to 10 people maybe getting together, how do you even start this if you've never done it
Well,
before? Because you're talking to a person who has never, ever roasted a turkey in her life, ever.
well,
I have no
well,
clue.
it's actually very easy. It's a big chicken, and
I know, I was
people,
gonna say,
they hear turkey and they get wild, they get nervous. You want to figure about 1.5 pounds of turkey per person. So there are some people, they don't want to buy a 25-pound turkey. They'll buy 2 16-pounders. 16 to 20 will give you a better meat ratio off the bone. 16 down, you end up with not that much meat. 16, 20 up, you get more breast meat. Thighs are bigger, drumsticks are bigger. You want to look at something minimally processed, and it'll explain it on the label. You don't want turkeys that are heavily injected with sodium and fat in solutions. Some people will say, they'll look and it says, oh, it's a 15% solution. I'll go, 15%. It's not that much. Well, it is actually. And, you don't need all of that added. Some people will brine their turkey overnight, which is basically, a salted water with herbs and different things, and you can brine it and then kind of rinse it. That will not only help it be a little more tender, it gives it a lot of flavor. So read the label. Really read the label. There's some great brands out there that do minimally processed turkeys. I prefer frozen over fresh. I never had a lot of success with fresh turkeys in the supermarket. Tried it a few times, and they kind of sit in their own juice, and they didn't exactly smell great. It was hit and miss. Some supermarkets will actually take turkeys and defrost them, and they can put them out as fresh. There was a big write-up a couple of years ago. People were thinking they were getting fresh turkeys, and what they were getting when they opened up the package was all the water and the juice and the blood were coming out because it had been defrosted. So you have to be careful.
Mm. Well, that's interesting to me too, because even thinking about chicken, I've seen that where you go to buy a chicken and it's like it's floating in its own juices, but it's not like, and it's felt weird to me. It just kind of was like, are you floating in blood? Like, what is this? Like, and you can't see, especially if it's like not in a clear bag. You're like, what's going on in there?
Right.
That's weird. So, and you can ask the person, in the store, in the butchery department, like, what's going on? You can ask them, and I think sometimes we forget to have that communication when we go to the store. We just kind of focus on, are we, doing our list, and we forget that there are people there to help us, and we can ask them and see what's a good thing. So, okay, you've got the pounds down. So I know you're going to say it's not a stupid question because there's no stupid questions, but this is my stupid question. So when you talk about pounds, so are they talking about, this is like a stupid question, frozen or unfrozen? Because if you're buying the frozen, is it like, are they putting the pounds from when it was unfrozen, right? And so when you defrost it, okay. So are the pounds going to change? Now I feel like I need to go do an SAT course here. Now, do the pounds include the solution? That's, just got to ask.
That's a really, really good question.
Oh, wow.
I would think, with an educated guess, that it would. That if they inject the turkey with any kind of solution, they're going to do a catch weight on the total pounds. So yes, and also that's profitable. They're going to make more money. It's like a corned beef that gets pumped for St. Patty's Day, and it's got all the liquid in it. You're going to make a lot more money. I would think the catch weight is with the solution for sure. They make more.
I have one friend who will wash meat out. Like she brings it home, and like if it's corned beef or something, like even the turkey tomahawk, she's like, I wash all my meat because I don't want any solution. And I go, but aren't you taking stuff out? She goes, no, I wash it. And then she will go and rub olive oil into the meat for, and if it's got a lot of fat, she'll scrape the fat out and then put olive oil as a replacement and massage it into the meat. And then she's been on podcasts and she's like, you rub it in. And I'm like, are you massaging the meat? She goes, I am. but, but I mean, is this a doable thing? She's happy with it, to do that
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, well, especially let's say you're doing a lean beef, right? That doesn't have a lot of marble. You don't want all that fat. You're doing something that's very, very lean. And if it's got some outer fat, you cut that off, and you're adding a healthy fat into the meat versus having the heavy marble, which is a saturated fat. So, yeah, that's actually very smart.
So, because that's the thing, I think a lot of us, I should include myself, should not, are going on the more of a healthier way of doing things. I mean, the younger generation too, shouldn't say the younger generation either, because it just seems like people were living longer, so we better take care of ourselves. If we want to live longer, let's be happier. So, we don't need to be having heart attacks at 30 or 40 years old, and it does happen. So it's about, I think, and I say the younger generation, they're starting to like, when I was in my 20s and 30s, we didn't care, but I'm seeing 20 and 30-year-olds caring now compared to when I was,
which is a
that
good thing.
age.
Yes.
I think it's a good thing. You're doing your part in teaching the generation of now today. Like, there's this over here, the fast food, but here you can actually make this fast food really in a different way, and it'll taste better. So this is what's so great about turkey too. Doing your Thanksgiving. How many people are doing it this year for the first time? I wish I could see a show of hands, because it's like, I think it's exciting and scary at the same time to do. So you're going to go and get your first turkey, you explained the pounds. Now you're going to figure out how many people per pound, right? And here's my thing. You do want leftovers, because why not pay a couple extra bucks so that you have leftovers? So you can just do all kinds of cool things afterwards. You know what I mean?
Oh, sometimes it's the best part. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's kind of like, if you're looking at a budget, you may not be paying too much more to get a couple extra pounds. Right.
Exactly.
So it might be worthwhile just going for the whole turkey, the big turkey boy. And sometimes you might have to buy more than one. Oh boy, we need to talk about that, Ivan. How do you balance that out? Well, I know people with two ovens too.
Right. I was just going to say, I mean, do you have more than one oven? Let's say if you get a 25-pound turkey and you put it in a roasting pan, all of a sudden you open up your oven, and if you're in a smaller place, it doesn't fit. So, you have to look at the dimensions of all of that. I've known people that, when I used to do the Celebrity Chef Turkey Hotline, and they would, call in the morning, and they were just insane. Yeah, having all these problems. I have a 28-pound turkey. It's completely frozen. What do I do? Run to the supermarket and get a fresh one. You're a week away from defrosting that.
Okay, that's the point. Okay, yeah, that's why Chef Ivan wanted us to do this early, because he wants you, number one, to not have people in the aisle of the supermarket, stealing all the toilet paper and pasta and rice, but also the turkeys, because you never know.
Right.
So get your turkey early, right? And there's a defrosting time, but then also you need to know if your turkey will fit in the oven. So that's a big, wow, I never thought about the turkey not fitting in the oven.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. You might have to hacksaw this thing. So you do need it to be defrosted. Okay. So so the defrosting thing, you said they need to just go to the store, and good luck on that. And you're going to pay more. I don't know. But, if you are in trouble with the size of your turkey, do you just say, cut it? Do you just get the saw out, or what? Like, what happens?
You would probably dismember, do the leg quarters and do the breasts separately, and put them, parallel to each other, and get it in the oven that way. I mean, it would certainly work. At that point,
someone's getting a butchery lesson. Yeah, you're going to have a butchery lesson right there and then. So at that point, you are allowed to break out the wine, even if it's 9 a.m, right?
Oh, yeah.
You're allowed. You have coffee with a little alcohol in it. Yeah. All right.
Yes.
So let's go back to purchasing the turkey. So we're looking at, I think most people do the frozen. Unless it's the day of and you're in like, I'm in deep doo-doo. And listen, if you have to do chicken breasts at the last second, that's what you do. Cause really it's about being thankful. And if you can't do turkey, it's just not, it's not going to be the end of the world. It'll be memorable.
No, it's not.
make fun of it, you know, but make sure you have good pie. Like if your turkey sucks, make
Yeah.
sure you have good pie, right? And, you know, definitely have wine. Um,
Yes.
so purchasing the turkey, so you should actually do a measurement of your stove before you bring the turkey home.
Sure.
Because
Why
it's
not?
like,
Bring a tape measure. Yeah.
so okay, so when you cook, because then you have to look at, our people go, oh, I can put it at the lower grill level, right? But maybe you
Yeah.
shouldn't. And that's okay if you're going to do it on the lower grill, because isn't that going to make it hotter or no? Like for the turkey to cook faster, or does it matter what level
Mm,
of the oven that you're putting your turkey in?
no, you kind of want to stay in the middle, so you get the centralized heat. You know, there are
Oh,
some people that they'll have a roasting pan. So you want to measure your roasting pan, and if the turkey fits in it and the roasting pan fits in your oven, you're fine. And then some people have a roasting pan and it's got a handle on each side, and they go to get it in, and they go, I can't get it in. The handle is hitting the side. What am I going to do now? So you want to
wow.
be prepared for everything, you know, because not
Yeah,
everyone
it's
has gigantic range ovens.
wow. Yeah, because you know, as we travel the country, we see all kinds of kitchens and all kinds of things. And then
Yeah,
there's the whole world of the induction stove.
right.
Well,
Oh, yeah.
well, that's a
Not a
whole world.
fan. Not a fan. Not a fan.
That's a whole other podcast.
Yeah,
I don't know what goes
yeah,
on in the oven. I
yeah,
don't, I now know the stovetop. I got it.
yeah.
Um,
Well, the stovetop is what I was talking about, where you can actually take the pot off and you put your hand on it. You don't feel the heat. To me, that's
yeah,
really bizarre. And then you put the pan back on and it gets instantly hot. That tricks me out. I'm
instantly,
like, that freaks
instantly.
me out.
Now
Yeah.
it's a
You,
whole, well, I think it's a good thing if you have kids, but then I don't think it is, because then the kids think, you know, you want to teach your kids like hot, cold, not like
yes,
on and off. It's a whole other, no, and it only takes certain cookware and
yes,
yeah,
yes, yeah.
and
They use it
I
on
don't,
boats, especially. Yeah.
oh, really? Now
They don't
what,
want flames
okay,
on, they
all
don't want
right,
flames on boats.
that makes sense. And then there's
Yeah.
induction, and then there's the convection thing. So what's the
Ah, I love
convection
the
oven?
well, the convex is a fan. That's what we have at school. A lot of them are convex, and they're wonderful. It's a big air fryer. And what it does is it's got a high and low setting, and it's got a big fan in the back, and it circulates the air. And you end up cooking things more evenly and more quickly. I love a convex oven, especially when you
Okay.
want to brown something and you want to turn it up to 500 and you want to put on the fan really high and you get a beautiful browning very quickly. You have to watch them though because they go fast.
Mhm. Well, I had no clue. All I know is you have
Yeah.
these different departments, and I go, you know, I'm going to make a salad tonight or order a pizza. Because even sometimes cooking a pizza, we're like, I don't know. I don't
Right?
know whether
Why
I want to
not?
touch this. Well, convection,
Yeah.
you know, here's all these words, and we're like, I don't know. I don't know. But I have
Yeah.
probably Googled every appliance on the planet at this point, because I look at it before I try to do it, because
Uh-huh.
you don't want to be the cause of blowing up someone's house, you know, as we travel.
No.
But let's go back to, okay, so your oven has to do with the cooking, obviously. Um, and then, you know, make sure about the sizes and everything. But you did mention, which is why we're airing this now, is that you're going to have to let your turkey defrost for quite a while, especially
Yes.
according to the size.
Yes. Yes.
Wow.
At least a week and
A week.
sometimes more. At least a week and sometimes more. If it's a big bird, if it's 23, 25 pounds, you should get it 10 days before. And because the most important thing is when you defrost the turkey, you want to get it to a point where you get it ready 2 days before. Because the trick is when the turkey is defrosted, you take it out of the plastic. You want to put it in the refrigerator. Remove all the giblets, by the way, and don't forget about the neck, the part in the front of the breast. They put
Mm,
giblets in there, and they sometimes put giblets in the cavity. So you want to get it out, and you want to have it in the refrigerator for 2 days. And what that does is it dries out the skin. So you're going to get really, really extra crispy kind of showpiece by the time you finish cooking turkey. This goes a long way, really long way.
Wow. Okay, so
Yeah,
you want to take the and sometimes I put those giblet things in a little baggie, so you don't end up cooking that. You know,
right.
just saying.
Yeah.
Well, it's happened, hasn't it?
Oh, yes, all the
I've cooked
time. Yeah.
on that call. I remember you doing it when you were on shows, way back when, and going, okay, let everyone know I'll be on the call. And I'm going, does anybody called you drunk saying I left a bag of giblets in the
Yes.
turkey and cooked it? Have you had that?
Yes. Yes. I once had a guy call and he had a live turkey. He asked me how
No.
to slaughter the turkey, how to get the fat. I was like, sir, I don't know
Okay,
what
this
to
is
tell you.
yeah, have a drink and hang up. It's
Yeah.
like, go somewhere. No, I know that you're not out there killing the turkey. That's not an
No.
Ivan call for sure.
No.
Um,
No.
but yeah, so the giblet thing, but I mean, I know a lot of people like you can take some of that and make juice for your animals, but be careful because of bones and animal necks and everything. Like I know dogs shouldn't have chicken bones. I
Never.
know, I know we've
Yeah.
lost an animal over that.
Yeah.
With someone throwing
Yeah.
it over the fence. Thank you very much,
Yeah.
people. Um,
Yeah.
so and they thought they were like just feeding our dogs. Oh, we got some extra,
Yeah. Well, yeah.
it wasn't mean, but it didn't end up well. So be
No.
careful of that kind of thing with your animals with like
Mm-hmm.
bendy bones, like the chicken breast bone, that like the wishbone is
Yeah.
not necessarily something you want your dog to get a hold of at all.
No.
So just a pointer on that. So you take the giblets out, you rinse them, you dry them, but you're still going to cook them, right? You're still
I
putting it
do.
in there.
Yeah. I do. I cook them separately. I roast them. Yeah. I don't do the stomach because it's very, very chewy. I do the liver and I do the neck.
So when you're talking about the skin drying out for a good browning, it's because you took the giblets out? Because the
No,
giblets,
you want to take the giblets out after it defrosts, especially the liver, because if you leave the liver in after it defrosts, it can actually you can make the inside cavity taste a little bit like a mineral taste. So once you defrost, pull your giblets out. Don't leave them in.
okay. Okay, so the giblets are out. And that could
Hmm.
be used, they could be used for soups and stuff, right?
Oh,
I think.
sure. You can make stock. You can make soups. Yeah, you can just eat them. You can make chopped
What about the
liver.
livers? I think we used to give the livers to our dogs. That's what we used to do.
Oh, we used to make chopped liver with eggs and sautéed onions, and you chop it up. And oh, I love chopped chicken liver. It's almost like a pâté, and you have it on good French baguettes. Wonderful. You can make pâtés out of them.
Oh, okay. So you pate. So there it is.
Yeah,
Turkey,
there
not
it is.
chicken. Turkey liver, not chicken liver. But could you
Oh,
do it with
chicken liver too. Oh, yeah. Oh,
Oh
all the
wow.
time,
Okay.
chicken livers, turkey livers, duck livers. Sure.
So when you're doing the pate, are you cooking the liver first, right? You are.
You are, yeah. And if you do the French pâté, you're sautéing it, and you're actually adding cream to it and roasted onions, and it's very decadent. French liver pâté is like when you eat it, you go, "Oh my God, this is so smooth and wonderful!" But wow, it's like just do a little bit.
Yeah. The liver I had the last time I had liver was in Louisiana, and
Hmm.
we had boudin, which is like
Oh,
you know what I'm talking about. Like it's
yeah.
French, it's sausage and rice, but it's got like
Hmm.
they make hogs. It's basically taking parts that you don't want to play with, and they
Hmm.
make it, and it's a delicacy. And
Yes,
then
absolutely.
and we had hog's head cheese and liver
Oh yeah.
pate, as they say, liver
Hmm.
pate. And
Yeah.
that I just sit there and go, "You will do this, Lisa. You will grow up and do
Yeah.
this." And I did it. And I was
Yeah.
like, you know what? I had to change my mindset to make myself do it. And it
Yeah.
was not as bad as your mindset
No.
thinks, like it's just not as bad. And I think it's something that grows on you. Like as a kid, I didn't want coffee, right? And then, now I love my coffee. So it's such it's a acquired taste, I think. Like I eat Marmite
It,
and
it
most people don't.
yeah.
in this
Well, yeah,
country.
and it's nice to see every part of the animal is going to be used, for food.
That's
Nothing should be
huge.
wasted. Nothing.
No, no, that to me is one of the most important things is that we don't
Hmm.
waste. And if you can eat it, do it. If you know, but you wouldn't put liver in a soup, or would you?
No, no, no.
Yeah,
It
that would be
doesn't.
weird.
No, no,
That would be,
no.
it
And
just sounds
for
weird.
the most part, liver you don't want to eat a lot of it anyway because it's a filter. It filters out toxins through the body. So it's not.
Hmm.
When I was a kid, the doctors were like, "You need liver. Eat liver and onions." And now they're like, "Well, liver's not exactly the best thing for you." So it's one of those things, few and far between. Once in a while, you don't want to eat too much of it.
Mm. It was like foie gras, right? They did that.
Oh, please.
That's
Oh,
not
for years,
nice.
I would never touch it. I show the students the films, and it's so wild because they come through and they clip their feathers and they're force fed and they can't even walk. And I'm like, this was done for Napoleon. This was invented for kings. The liver's 10 times the size. I always say animals should never. You don't.
Yeah,
Animals
it
should
should be
not
humane.
suffer for food.
Mm-mm.
That's exactly. They should not suffer. So veal and foie gras and a lot of other things I haven't and would never
Mm.
touch again ever,
Well,
ever.
if you look at the natural kingdom, right? And so, Nancy and I lived in Kenya and South Africa, and in my childhood, she worked in wildlife conservation, and we lived in the bush for like 3 years, studying and looking at wildlife, and so we would see animals kill each other, right? And people freak out, like, "Oh, that's so gross. You want to save the animals." And this is actually the biological way of the web of life, right? The
Yes,
animals
yes.
everybody eats, but it is so fast and it is so skilled when you watch it. I mean, you watch how animals train each other. And even the people there that are hunting for bushmeat for food are skilled, and everything is about precision and quickness. Absolute precision has to happen
Hmm.
because it's about not suffering. You know, some cats are a
Hmm.
little wonky on the suffering part. I will say that. That's some truth.
Hmm.
But, and cats, they'll play with an animal tail and, they'll do some weird things. But about killing of the animals, it's a very, we're here to eat and we're going to do this as fast as we can so that we are successful in this hunt and the animal doesn't suffer as long. It's very, very fast. And if you get to witness that, there's an amazement with it. It's not about it's got to be like that for cooking too. You can't freak out about the meat, and a lot of people do freak out, like, "Oh, I'm touching meat, and there's blood, and there's all of that." And as a chef, even cooking lobster, right? There's this weird thing. So, if you're going to eat meat or prepare meat or of any kind of animal product for someone, there's going to be this portion of understanding that has happened in our systems and cycles for years. And I don't want to get into vegan, non-vegan and all of that because everybody has their belief system of what they want. And we respect all of it here on this show for sure. And, I've
Hmm.
been vegan and all of that. But almost pretty much vegetarian, in our lifestyle, but not
Hmm.
100%. There's bacon. So that's not going to happen. But
Right.
I'm talking about like the quickness of it. And it's quick so that the suffering is little. And that's the point. And that's where I think in society at times we've derailed from the quickness of it and then making use of everything. So livers and everything like you're talking about, that's about utilizing something. I mean, we fed
Hmm.
the dogs the livers, right? That was utilizing it and they got something really oh, they loved it, right? But don't be careful of the neck thing and all that. But the
Oh yeah.
giblets, that's something good that you can use in stews and all of that, right? But as a chef, do you have to do that especially as a culinary instructor, help people get past the butchering? Because people may be having to butcher some of their turkey pre being cooked. For some reason, after it's cooked, it's okay, but it's the pre-cooking that
Hmm.
people freak out on the blood and everything.
Yeah, we go through all of that. Poultry, beef, yeah, for sure. Butcher
Any tip,
fabrication.
any tips on people getting through it if they're scared about cutting meat in doing that?
I never make a student do anything they don't want to. Like a couple of years ago, I was showing them, they were getting ready to fabricate chickens into, like 14-piece cuts. And I had a young man pass out when I simply cut the chicken and broke the bone in the middle to cut it in half. That cracking, he passed out. So we revived him and he was fine, but that was way too much for him. And I said, do you eat chicken? He goes, all the time. And I said, well, you don't have to do this, but this is, what you're eating. This is how it's done. This is how it's cut, how it's cooked, how it's served. So he came around and he enjoyed, but I never force anyone to do anything they don't want. I never force them to taste anything, although I've said, maybe you should try this. You might be a little surprised. And then they do, and they went, wow, I never knew. I mean, I had kids afraid of confit tomatoes a few years ago. The new generation, I have a lot of 9th graders and 10th graders. They're open to everything. They want to try everything.
It's interesting because it's really the cycle of life, huh? How our history repeats, because we were doing this as kids on farms 100 years ago. now we have to learn like again, right? And it was, 100 years ago, kids were on farms, actually slaughtering the meat, right? Or hunting for the food. So it has been this interesting cycle. And I think this is actually a very good portion of this conversation today, because when we think about Thanksgiving and giving thanks, we've got to think about the animals too, and we've got to think about that cycle and thank the farmers and the people that raised the food and, who's growing those sweet potatoes or yams. You can have that argument another time, but who's made it possible. So, it's like every time we do something, it's coming from another source. Everything we do is from another helping hand in some way. And, that includes our food. There's no such food without someone helping us with the ingredients to do that. Or who made your knife, or who made your oven? Is it the right size? Anyway, but you know what I'm saying? So when we do this, I think the fact that we may have to wait this week or more for it to defrost is kind of a mindfulness with this food. Like you're really getting yourself ready for this feast. And so it's a really nice thing, other than what's going on in day-to-day life, to have something different to focus on. And something that's about Thanksgiving and celebration and gratitude and family and friends and love. So it's kind of cool that it's in there. If it's in your fridge for a week, it's kind of like a gestation period. Yeah, at least. So you can't speed it up like putting it in hot water or anything like that?
No, that's the worst thing you can do, because that actually starts to cook part of the skin and part of the meat. Yeah, I mean, no, like the safest way is always slowly in a refrigerator. Then, there are some people that they'll run water on it, but, we see you got to go like 12, 14 hours. Where you're running it slowly, and it's not good. Not good. You got to prepare ahead of time.
All right. So everyone, you hear that? This is this is why we're airing it early. Okay. So how do you know when the turkey is all the way defrosted? Because it could be like still frozen a little bit on the inside, right? Because this is a big bird.
You pick it up, you move the legs around so you know that there's not any ice crystals. You put your hand in the cavity. You make sure there's no ice crystals in the cavity. Sometimes you'll find a small piece of ice in the middle. You pull it out, you dry it, and you'll feel it. You'll know. It's also going to release a little bit of liquid, so you'll see that as well. It's important.
See, I'm glad we had this
put it,
other conversation before this, because that could freak some people out. So you're doing good preparation here. So you're going to stick your hand in the cavity basically and feel inside there and be prepared for what you feel.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And you could dry it out. Would you put like a paper towel in there to dry it out, or do you just let it be as
you could?
Okay.
Absolutely. And you don't want it sitting in its own juice. You want to make sure when you go back into whatever pan that, it's not juice on the bottom. But that
Okay.
important thing of drying that skin really makes for a showpiece turkey.
Okay, so everyone,
You want the off factor.
This is basically the whole thing is this is not the time for it to be moist. You want this turkey to be dry and then the
ready.
moist comes from cooking. Yes, dry and
Yes.
ready. Okay, so the night before, like your turkey. So, how do you know how long it's going to defrost? Like, how long is it going to take? Because you don't want it to still be frozen the morning that you're going to get up at 3 a.m. or some ungodly hour to do this. How do you prepare so you don't screw up?
I would do a 16 to 20 pound bird 7 to 8 days before. That leaves you 2 days to dry out the skin. And if your turkey is still a little frozen, that skin will still dry out. If you're 20 pounds and up, I would go at least 10 days. If you're 23, 24 pounds, 10 days.
Okay. And you're just keeping it inside the fridge in a pan. In the pan that you're going to cook it in? Do you cover it?
No. No. You don't cover the turkey.
You want it dry?
You want it dry, yes.
And it's out of the baggie.
People don't want to.
Yeah, it is out of the baggie.
They don't want to. They don't want to kind of like. Yeah, it's preparation. It's like, why am I doing this so far ahead? Because it's going to pay off.
Okay, and you want it 2 days before Thanksgiving to be done, so you don't have a drama. And now you've taken the giblets out because now the giblets and the livers are defrosted. You've taken them out. You're going to do something, whatever, what you want to do with that. And now it's going to sit and dry. So then, because it's going to get all like tightened and all that, and the fat's going to get all like meat. And then you're going to say, okay, it's time. Then you take it out of the fridge. And everyone, Chef Ivan has a wonderful list of notes for you to read. It's linked from the episode notes, or just go to blendradiontv.com and type in Turkey Ivan. I didn't say Ivan the turkey. I said Turkey Ivan. You'll find it. Just the search term. Ivan is not a turkey. He's amazing. It's just a search term. I'm not appropriating anything here. So, anyway, you go on there, it's there. So, but this is so cool. So you bring this out, okay, but you say it has to be out of there for 2 hours at least before you're going to roast.
At least. You don't want to go in like a cold bird. 2 hours.
You don't want to be cold turkey, man. No cold turkey.
You don't want to be cold turkey. No. And then you want to rest it for at least an hour when it comes out. You want to tent it and you want to rest it. That bird will still be plenty hot when you go to cut into it. It's got to rest.
Okay. So, the resting thing, you've talked about that for years on the show. Like, you take something out of the oven, it needs to rest. And like, even taking pizza out of this oven, you're like, let it rest.
Right. Yeah.
Trust me, because I don't want to tell you what I did to our pizza last night. It did not like me.
No.
It only liked me the next morning of the leftovers. And I'll tell you, the leftovers were delicious. But what we did last night was not good. Let it rest. So you want it to rest before it goes into the roasting oven. So is that so it gets into room temperature?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Well,
so why does frozen pizza want you to keep it frozen before you put it in the oven? I don't understand this. It says, no, keep your pizza frozen until you put it in the oven. I don't understand that. And I have never listened to it.
Yeah, I think that's like user friendly. Like, buy it, just get it frozen in the oven, the pizza, and cook it. It's thin. It's going to defrost very quickly in the oven and then cook very quickly. Here we're talking about a massive piece of protein. Very, very different.
And it's healthy compared, right? This is deliciousness. Yeah. This is the thing about Thanksgiving. It's actually quite healthy, depending on how you do it.
You can make it very healthy. Yeah, you don't have to do a traditional, heavy, sugar, salt, fat Thanksgiving. You can do so much ahead that the day of Thanksgiving, you can do your stuffing ahead. You can prep your vegetables ahead. You can use a no salt, low salt turkey stock. And you could have a glass of wine. You're cooking your turkey. Everything is set up. You go into the oven. You have your plates done. People get crazy. And all you have to do is do things ahead and prep. Everything is in the prep. And you'll have a flawless, relaxing turkey day. Trust me on this.
I absolutely agree with you. When you have things done, prepared, and like just make a list and don't try to do every side dish on the planet. Because actually
No,
our stomachs don't want that many different things in it at one time. It doesn't.
no,
It doesn't
no.
work. If your digestive system just wants a few basic things, and the more whole foods and more basic they are, the
Hmm.
healthier you're going to be. And you know, it's just, yeah, I think people over the holiday season, I'm just like, everybody chill out. It's supposed to be
Yeah,
fun. Yes, prep ahead of time. And if you just have a short list of things to do and you've done them in stages, it's so much easier. And it's about fellowship and food, people coming together, which I think we need to do now more than ever on the planet, like have some fun with it. It's really, really crucial that, we
hmm.
don't freak out because anxiety is a real thing, you know,
Oh,
and,
tell me
and we
about it.
don't need anxiety over Thanksgiving, which is supposed to be
No,
fun.
no,
There's
yeah. You don't want
anxiety
to
of
cook frantically.
like,
Yeah, you don't want to be
Tuesday
frantic when
may
you
be a
cook.
little anxiety, but, right now, today, and you could be listening after the elections. Well, still, no
Oh,
matter what, you can just enjoy Thanksgiving no matter what. No matter what
right.
happens, no matter what happens, getting together with loved ones, no matter what side everyone's on, it's imperative that we break bread and make things work, no matter what. It is about that. And so I think Thanksgiving this year is so important about let's just focus on good food and laughter and what do we have in common, right? So
Hmm.
I'm just saying that. I know we're just only supposed to talk about turkey, but I also think we need to actually have some fun. So, all right, we're going back. The turkey's out because I keep derailing us here. I'm good at this. I'm derailing. The turkey, you're going to now, it's out, it's rested, it's at room temperature, and it says, Ivan, I'm ready for my bacon. You can roast me. And so now the oven has to be preheated. This is the thing. Now, I brought up the pizza thing about it being frozen and put in the oven, but like what happens if you actually put your turkey in the oven before it's preheated? It's not going to die. It's still kind of chilling out, isn't it? Getting to room temperature, or is that a big no-no?
Well, well, what you want to do is you want to make sure you're at 400 degrees.
Oh,
And you're going to start it where for the first half an hour to 45 minutes, you're going to brown that skin. And then what you're going to do is you're going to tent it and drop it down to 350. That'll give you
oh,
an even browning throughout the entire bird. So you're working it kind of
oh,
from the top to the bottom.
that's
If you
different.
go in and
Yeah.
the oven isn't preheated, your heat source is kind of all over the place. You're kind of coming up, and you'll get spots that are more brown, less brown. You definitely want to go in when you reach the temperature you've got it set for.
Okay, we've got this now. All right, so now it's been in there for around 30 minutes or so, depending on how big the bird is. When you got that
Hmm.
now nice brown, crispy skin, now we turn it down to 350. Is
Hmm.
it 400 no matter what size the bird?
Yeah.
Okay, that is your thing. Okay, and the stuffing, okay, you bring this into your tips. If stuffing the bird, stuff with hot stuffing and loosely stuff, and that would be the time. When do you do that? You do that right when you turn it down to the 350, you place stuffing then?
I don't put stuffing in a bird, and I'll tell you why. The stuffing for health and sanitation has to reach at least 165 dead center stick in the center. If you bring stuffing up to 165 degrees, your turkey is going to have to be cooked to 180, 185. You're going to have a really, really dry breast. If you do want to stuff the bird, you put the stuffing in warm in the beginning. You can put it in the beginning, and it'll balance out. If you put the stuffing in cold, it's going to take you a really long time to get that stuffing heated. It's much better to do stuffing separately on a bird. It
Okay.
just is. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I think on the outside is better because it's pretty, depending on,
Yeah.
what you're doing with that. So,
Mm-hmm.
you say you keep it in there for what, 13 minutes a pound for unstuffed and 15 minutes a
13.
pound for stuffed?
Yes, absolutely. You got to go extra for stuff, an extra 2 minutes. But You average about 13 minutes unstuffed.
Okay, so you said like a 16-pound turkey will take about 3.5 hours. Why are people doing this all day long? Why is this a 3 in the morning till like evening thing?
Because they're frantic. Because they're frantic. You don't need to cook a bird that long. Absolutely not. You know, it doesn't have to be that complicated.
I'm reading this and listening to you, and I'm sitting there going and derailing us everywhere, going, this is actually something not like that difficult to do. Everybody's freaking out. So, okay, so don't freak out. Okay, so it's like basically 3.5 to 4 to 5 hours, depending on how big your bird is.
How big, yes.
But you need to have a thermometer, because you were talking about 185 and 155 and all that. That's your thermometer. What should the bird, so that's something everyone should have. Don't do this and, you know, because I always just try to cut and see if there's blood or not.
Right.
I haven't done a big turkey, but I've done that with chicken. I've never done the thermometer thing because I don't know what I'm doing.
Well, what you want to do is you want to get a thermometer, stick thermometer, and you want to put it between the breast and the thigh as deep as you can go. And you want to pull that turkey at 155, 157. Because what's going to happen is you've heated that turkey, and that turkey is on bones, the rib cage, the back. It's going to continue to cook. So when you take that turkey out, that turkey is going to climb up to 165. Where a lot of people go wrong is, you know, they'll keep the turkey in the oven till 165. They'll take it out, and then the turkey will climb to 180, 185, and the breast is tough and chewy and dry. So that target of 155, 157, with those bones being as hot as they are, and you tenting that bird will comfortably slide you right into where you need to go.
Well, a lot of times, okay, guilty, and I don't, you know, so now I'm wondering about this where you're talking about how it's still cooking because of the bone in the rib cage.
Yes, it's called carryover cooking,
Yeah, people will turn their oven off and just go, oh, just leave it in there for that time because it'll just, you know, That's why my chicken didn't work. Is that what? Because I can't talk turkey, but I can talk chicken. But, you know, I thought I had it and they said, oh, we'll just leave it in there for this little bit of time to let the potatoes do this or that. Yeah, that's what resting's about. But resting it in the oven is not a good plan because it's still cooking.
No, it keeps cooking. Yeah, sure.
Okay. Don't do that. You bring it out and you say to rest it for at least an hour, and you tent it with foil so it keeps the moisture. We want the moist. This is when we want the moist. Okay. So you rest it for an hour, but then you say to put it back in the fridge for 2 hours. Like, unless you want to eat it right there and then, how do you reheat the turkey once you put it in the fridge? Like if you've let it rest for an hour, can you eat after an hour at that point, or what happens? What's going on with that?
You want to eat the turkey after you rest it on the counter an hour after it sits. Okay,
don't put it in the fridge and then reheat it. Like,
oh no,
okay,
no,
okay,
no.
But you're saying after 2 hours being out of the oven, that baby needs to go in. Don't let it sit out there for a while.
2 hour max is your window. After that, you have to refrigerate whatever leftover you have.
Okay. And then you talk about turkey stock using the carcass, and you could use the giblets for that, right, too? Giblets.
Absolutely. Yeah. It makes a great stock.
Stocks, and then you can
for everything. Make a great soup. Yeah. Oh, yeah. You can freeze it. I mean, you don't waste it.
What is your favorite stuffing to go on the side? What do you do?
You know, years ago, I thought I made the best stuffing. It was my father's stuffing. I first met Tracy. She made a stuffing, and we had people come over, and they judged it, and I lost. I lost to her stuffing. I mean, basically, when you see stuffing made, and I used to make it in the restaurants for hundreds and hundreds of people in big tilt kettles. You know, your croutons, your bread has to be dry. You're going to be putting in poultry seasoning, onions, carrots. I do a very basic stuffing, and the amount of butter that goes into stuffing is frightening. I mean, you put a lot of butter, and then you kind of get the stock, and you get it to the consistency that you want. By the time you cook it, the top of the stuffing in the pan is a little crunchy, but the bottom is not soft, but it's a little moist, not dried out, got a good balance of flavor. But there are people that put oysters in it, giblets in it, raisins in it. I'm not that extravagant when it comes to stuffing. I don't make stuffing anymore because I can't control myself. I just can't. I'll eat it and eat it and eat it. And sometimes, let me tell you something. Thanksgiving meal, that's not where people put on the pounds. It's the leftovers. When you wake up 3 o'clock in the morning and you're doing a turkey and stuffing sandwich the size of your head.
That's what I was going to say is, friends, I know it's about the stuffing sandwiches. They're stuffing a sandwich with stuffing. It's the stuffing in the sandwich. It is that. And then and then here comes the turkey club sandwiches with bacon.
Yes.
I'm just saying, you've got to put the bacon and the turkey together. Come on.
Yeah.
But it's like a whole thing. But I mean, and then is there a favorite side dish other than the stuffing for you?
I make my own cranberry sauce. I don't use real sugar, but I'll tell you, the jellied stuff in the can, I love that stuff, especially on a turkey sandwich with the stuffing on sourdough toast with gravy.
Ooh.
I mean, there's nothing better. And that little
with
jiggle.
Gravy?
Yes.
You want the
with the juice. Because when you're roasting,
I was going to say cranberry
the turkey,
with sourdough. That's good.
When you're roasting the turkey, you want to put some beer, wine stock in there, so the drippings will go into that. You'll get a certain amount of evaporation, but that gives you a base for an incredible gravy at the end.
Mm-hmm. This is good. Ooh, yeah. Now, see, my whole thing, for some reason, as soon as I think turkey, I think celery. I don't know what to say about it. Maybe it's just that I like
you put
turkey
celery in too. Thank you. Yes,
celery is everything to me. Well, no, it's just, I don't know if it's just like, to me, turkey salad with, I know people do chicken salad with celery.
With celery.
But turkey and celery goes well, and you can put a little cranberry in there too, and it'll still be good. Balance, because if you want salt, like if you do a soup and you use celery, that's going to give you your salt, for the soup.
And your potassium is very high, which is very healthy for you. Celery is one of the highest things for potassium. Yeah.
Celery is key for diabetics, blood pressure, all of it, sugar, all your blood sugar and all that stuff. If everybody ate 2 stalks of celery a day, everybody would be much healthier. And it's peanut butter lovers month. So I'm just saying, put some peanut butter in the celery. It's good for you.
On the celery. I do that with the students all the time. A low sugar peanut butter on celery.
Yeah.
If you're an athlete, it's the greatest thing to eat after you work out because the potassium level.
Yeah. It's got electrolytes. It's like natural, it's good stuff, man. Now, would you ever eat a turkey burger, like turkey, or a sandwich with a little bit of peanut butter and pickle on there with turkey?
Why not? It sounds delicious.
I would. I know.
Why not?
I know, everybody. There's your weird way to end, Thanksgiving. Oh, what would be your pairing for Thanksgiving? Like, would you have, I kind of feel like a Pinot Noir or a Rosé or something. What would you do?
I would say to people, drink anything you want and anything you like at Thanksgiving, whether it be rosé, white, red,
water,
beer, water, port. just enjoy and just drink what you want. Have fun. Yeah.
Yeah. Have a good time. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Chef Ivan. And
you're welcome.
Looking forward to next month. Next month, we are going to finally do our cheese conversation, right?
We're ready.
Talking cheese, but no chalk. We're just talking cheese. And it's going to be delicious. Oh my gosh, I can't wait for that. I really can't. I cannot tell you how excited I am to talk about cheese. And at the end of the show, we'll find out who did indeed cut the cheese. All right, everyone. Thanks for joining us. The link for Chef Ivan's list of recommendations about the temperatures and how to buy the right turkey and all of that, they are up. That list, that link is up in the episode notes. So stay tuned. Thank you so much, Chef Ivan. And may you and Tracy and friends and family have a wonderful Thanksgiving.
You too, Lisa. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for joining us here on Big Blend Radio's Eat, Drink, and Be Merry show. Keep up with our podcasts at bigblendradio.com and our magazines at bigblendmagazines.com.